All right, I'm going to read this one because I didn't memorize it. Your story and arc as an activist is deeply impressive. You've led on a number of issues: women in the workplace, youth engaging in politics, the anti-war movement, eating disorders, nuclear energy, poverty and economic inequality, domestic violence, the environment, and climate change. Did I miss any? Oh my God. My question to you is, first of all, wow, I mean, that is breadth right there. But one thing I wanted to ask you in particular was, you've seen all these movements. How divided would you say the left is now compared to where it was during those times? And how do we build a big tent?
Build a big tent.
A big tent.
Important question, that is. Is it more divided? I mean, I had led a very, not a hedonistic life. I had not focused on anything until the Vietnam War opened my eyes. And see, here's the thing. Any issue that you take, homophobia, racism, a war, imperialism, if you really drill down, you start to find, when I really drilled down into Vietnam, there was racism. There was cruelty to indigenous people. There was the need for empire. There were, all of the issues begin to come up. I mean, and so it's only it's like, with Greenpeace, Annie Leonard is here, who ran Greenpeace for 10 years. I'm going to ask her to stand up in a minute, but not right now. I want her to stand up so that people can see you and know who to go after. Who to give their cards to. Okay, chemo brain. I've got to get over that. What was I saying?
You were talking about the Vietnam War was also about racism.
Yeah, well, you discussed, everything is connected. In the beginning of Fire Drill Fridays after COVID and we were online, that's when George Floyd was murdered. And it was so easy to expand our conversation then to include racism. It was not a stretch to bring that into the discussion of climate. Anyway, I had not been involved. I was not an activist when I became an activist and left my family in France and came back here. There were the Trotskyists. There were all of these very sectarian groups that were fighting each other. And I mean, I didn't understand all of that. So to me, that was very divided. It's divided now, but not as bad, I don't think. I wish, Annie, what do you think? Is it better or worse?
Annie?
It's better. It's better. Annie says it's better. It's better.
I'd like to admit something to you. I had a lot of trouble figuring out what I wanted to ask you in particular about activism. And I think, and it came to me a few nights ago. I started getting involved in San Francisco politics about 5 or 6 years ago. And at this point, I come to you and I come to this conversation feeling, I think, on the precipice of being disillusioned. I've seen so much infighting, so much negativity, so much hostility amongst folks who seemingly all want to do the right thing.
Honey, join us. And you won't find that.
Well, thank you. I wanted to ask you though, you've been in the game for so long. What has kept you engaged? How have you been able to continue to do the work, to stay in the movement for so long? And then can you talk about a moment where you were going to give up? You were going to be over, you're like, you know what, there's too much, it's too difficult, there's too much infighting, and you didn't give up and you stayed in the game.
What's the alternative? I don't, because I'm 85, people say, when are you going to retire? What was that word? To play golf? I have wasted so much time in my life that once I became an activist, it's like, oh, finally, I know why I'm here. There's meaning. I mean, to me, it was the beginning of my life.